Welcome to the 5 for 2 podcast with me, your host Adele, where we say no to careers where you're trading 5 days of misery for 2 days of fun. A place we discuss all things career, confidence, and money moves. I want to motivate, teach, and empower ambitious women to achieve more, earn more, feel more confident, and enjoy the work they do. It's all about believing you can have everything you want in your career and then going and getting it. So if you're ready, let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome to another episode. How are we all? You might be underpaid. I need you to check your paycheck. I need you to check your salary. It's important. Let's get into it. I was thinking about this recently, and I was thinking about back in, I can't even remember now, 2022, 2021, somewhere around there. I can't even remember. But I was being super underpaid. Like 15k underpaid, guys. Like between 10 and 20k underpaid, realistically. I was being underpaid. It was outrageous. And you might also be getting underpaid. So this is what I need you to do. I need you to check the market rate. Because the truth is, I wasn't being underpaid because I wasn't negotiating pay rises. I was regularly negotiating pay rises. Listen, you guys already know. I talk about it all the time. I am negotiating above that 5% if I can. I'm negotiating regular pay rises. I am negotiating annual leave. I'm negotiating benefits. And I think what had happened was I started negotiating a lot of benefits a lot of the time. And I'd also negotiated part-time hours for a full-time salary. So I think things got missed. And doing that, obviously getting a full-time salary and a part-time hours is a pay rise because you're doing less work for more money. So yeah. However, that does not mean we should stick around and get underpaid. Being underpaid happens a lot when you're in the same job for a long time. And that's basically what happened to me. When you change jobs, it's much easier to get a pay rise because you go for a bigger jump usually. Most of the time, people are getting like a 20-25% pay rise when they're changing jobs. But when you stayed in the same job, if you enjoy your job, why would you leave? If you're enjoying what you're doing, you're getting promotions, you're getting pay rises, why would you leave? But it doesn't mean just because you enjoy it that you haven't missed something. So what happened to me was I was negotiating all the things, but I hadn't looked out in the job market for a long time. And then I decided, I don't know why, one day I just went on job boards and I was like, wait, Adele, heads of recruitment, heads of talent acquisition are getting paid like 20k more than you. What? Jobs were being advertised 20k above my salary. Also, then I started talking to friends I know, people I know within the industry and being like, what are people getting paid for this type of role? And again, I wasn't doing that. When was the last time you spoke to people actually in your industry doing the roles that you do? Not in your company, to see if they're getting paid what you're getting paid. And again, people don't have to tell you their exact salary. You can just say to them, is this range normal currently for this type of role in our industry? You can speak to people in your company because oftentimes, like I spoke about it recently, a client that I was working with, someone who she worked with, a man, was being paid like, basically it worked out at £20,000, 20,800 a year more than her. Can you imagine? Someone's getting paid that much more than you. You do the exact same job. You produce more results than them, but they're getting paid more because they're a man. So yes, speak to people in your job, but it's really important to speak to people outside of your company and use data. Like if I speak to 5-6 people in 5 different companies and they're all saying like, yeah, you're 20k out, Adele, then I'm 20k out. If I'm looking on job boards, I'm looking on Glassdoor, I'm looking on salary.com and it's looking like I'm 20k out, then I'm 20k out. I haven't gone to apply to jobs or interviewed in forever. Like I hadn't been for an interview in forever. I didn't know what the industry was paying for my skill set. Now remember, I'm just looking at jobs on job boards with my job title. That's not including all my years of experience where I've produced results, where I've got evidence of those results. So that 10, 20k more that people are getting paid could be 30k for me. Like, let's be realistic. The job boards are just telling you this is what roughly is in the industry. What about everything I also bring to the table? Therefore, I had to quickly reevaluate. And I went ahead and had a conversation with my boss. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't just do my research and then run to my boss. I'm someone who's very thorough. I'm also an introvert. So I also find that sometimes when I have a conversation too quickly, I miss points. So what I do is I like to write things down, either email it to myself, because when I visually see things, it sticks in my brain, or just email it to myself so I can go over it for a while and then approach my boss. Two ways you can do this. You need to have a verbal conversation. Nothing hits home like a verbal conversation, but you might want to email first, especially if you're like me and you miss your point sometimes. Sometimes my brain is moving quicker than my mouth. Other times I just don't want to have the conversation like without having something in writing first. So I send it in writing and then I say at the bottom, can we have a conversation about this? What I want you to do is if you don't want to leave your job and go back into the market and get a big pay rise, then this is what I want you to do. The conversation needs to be something like this. I know that I've had a pay rise last year or the year before or whenever it was when you had your last pay rise, but just looking out in the market and looking at what I do, looking at all the results that I've delivered in the last 6 months and then talk about them. Don't say like looking at the results I've delivered. I want you to say like in the last 6 months, I've been able to do X, Y, Z. I believe over the next 6 months, the plans I have are these, and tell them what they are. Make sure they align with your company's overall goals and your department's goals. Yeah. What is your company trying to achieve in the next 6 months? And what is your department trying to achieve? Or in the next 12 months? Because a year is a good indicator of what you can kind of achieve and a good indicator of where they're kind of going. So how can you support the company and your department? And I want you to say like, in our department, I think that we could do X, Y, Z. I believe that I can help generate this much money or save this much money or streamline this process, which will tie into the big goals of the company. And you need to explain those goals. So have that conversation and then say, because of that, I wanted to know if we could have a conversation about my salary. Even if it doesn't happen right now, in the next like 2 to 3 months, I feel like I want to get my salary aligned with what the market is paying and everything that I'm delivering for the company, and then put your number out there. Stay silent for a bit, wait for your boss to come back to you. Now, the job market is hard right now. The economy is hard. Your boss might be like, listen, right now, this isn't something that we can financially do. Then I want you to have a bit more of a conversation and be like, okay, I totally appreciate that, but do you think it's something you'll be able to do within the next 6 months? Because I love it here and I know I can continue to make a difference, but I do obviously have to be realistic in my career and be able to keep my options open and look at what my other options might be. You're not making an ultimatum. We are not saying, oh, I might have to leave if you can't give me the money. Da, da, da. Listen, you like your job. If you like your job, why are we giving ultimatums? Even if you was in a relationship, would you give an ultimatum? Because I know if someone gives me an ultimatum, if they're like, if you don't do X, Y, Z, I'm going to leave. Leave. You're not going to bully me into a corner. Let's have a conversation and let's compromise, but you're never going to bully me into a corner. I'm not going to do what you want and jump through all the hoops because you say I have to. So we don't want to put companies on that. We don't want to be on the back foot. We want to be on the front. We want to be in the forefront. We want them to want to give us what we're asking for. So what you're going to need to say is, I need to look at my options. But before we go down that road, we want to wait and see what they say. We only need to talk about what other options we have if they give us a no. And it's a hard and fast no. Or if they give us a no and they're like, oh, because X, Y, Z, then you're going to ask, okay, is there anything I can do to change that? Again, this is before we talk about the other options. We say, is there anything I can do to change that? Is there anything I can do over the next 3 to 6 months? Because again, I really enjoy working here. I think that I can help the team grow to do X, Y, Z. I think I can streamline this process. I know that I'm going to be able to generate this much money because past evidence proves it. Like, I want you to have all your receipts and your results. I want you to be ready with your evidence. I want you to have an open conversation. But then I want you to also be aware that if at the end you feel like you need to, then you can say, I'm going to need to explore my other options. Because although I do love it here, I don't want to continue to be underpaid, or I don't want to continue to not be at my full earning potential. That's a better way of saying it. So instead of saying underpaid, I don't want to not be at my full earning potential. Listen, I hope you guys are listening because I'm dropping gems. We're only 9 minutes in and I've given you all the tools to go and ask your boss for this pay rise. I want anyone who uses this to come back and say to me, Adele, I got the money, because I love to see it. I love to hear it. I want to know when you get the pay. But that's what I want you to consider. And this even includes when you change roles. Yeah. Even when you change roles, if you change companies, if you change roles, like big pay rises are there, but you need to stay on top of the market. You could get 15K more to do the same job at the same company because I did. And if I can, I know you can. I've helped people get 12K pay rises, 20K pay rises to do the exact same job in their same company. I've also helped people leave and get 20K pay rises to do the same job somewhere else because their company just wouldn't do it for them. And then guess what? A lot of them ended up with counter offers. So they got another job. They'd spoken to their boss. The boss said no. They'd said about options. The boss didn't believe them. They went and explored those options. And then they got offered a 30K pay rise. They let their boss know they were leaving. And suddenly their boss was like, oh no, we'll match the new offer. Do not take a counter offer. I'm actually going to make an episode about counter offers because yuck. If you take a counter offer, it messes you up long term because you showed all your cards to your current company. They've now got too much leverage over you. I will explain in another episode. However, back to the topic at hand. You can get more money to do the same job at the same company if you stay on top of the job market. You don't need to keep interviewing if you don't want to, but you do need to go onto job boards intermittently and act like you're applying to see what the salaries are. Have conversations with people in your industry. Speak to recruiters. Listen, even if you're not looking for a job, the recruiter doesn't know that. If you see a good job, you can reach out to them if it hasn't got the salary on there and find out what the salary is. Then speak to the recruiter and say, what is the pay in the industry at the moment? Recruiters know because they're helping people every day get jobs. Ask recruiters, what is the industry pay? Speak to other people in your industry. Find out what people are being paid. On average, are you in the right place or are you way below like I was? Do not be me. I was 15K less than I should have been for more than a year. 15K, guys. How much money that is a year? Absolutely not. So I don't want you to be in the position I was in. So that is why I'm saying to you, you may be underpaid. Go check your salary. Hope this episode has helped someone. Another short and sweet one, guys. I'm going to do an episode about counteroffers, definitely. So watch out for that one. And I will speak to you guys in the next episode. I hope this episode gave you exactly what you needed and motivated you to confidently take steps towards your next career move. If you enjoyed it, screenshot and share it on your socials, tag me on Instagram, and come join my community of amazing women working on leveling up their confidence and career. Thanks for listening and see you next time.